What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com, and I've got my main man, the catalytic Kendall McKee from NoOffSeason.com and JustBaseball.com and Wildcards Box Breaks. And we're brought to you by NoOffSeason.com, the Sports Card Investment Report. We want you to check it out, save 20% by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. And of course, special shout out to our partners at Sports Card Investor, MarketMoversApp.com. You can get your first month for only $1 of that amazing product by using the referral code, promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase. And before I hand the mic over to Kendall and ask him how he's doing, I want to give you guys a show rundown. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff on today's show. We're going to talk about what we call pre-rookie cards, and we're going to talk about basketball pre-rookie cards like Topps Chrome Overtime Elite cards. You may or may not have seen these out and about on eBay recently. We're going to talk about the NFL draft and the cards that have come out before, during, and after the NFL draft and whether or not they are investable. And then we've got a lot of NBA talk. We're going to talk about Earvin Magic Johnson. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs and which cards to buy, which cards to avoid, and some good signs for the hobby coming out of the NBA right now. So we'll hit on that. We'll make Kendall run the gauntlet, of course, as that's become a tradition on the show. And we'll talk a little bit about my PSA card submission. Should I be feeling sorry for myself, or am I kind of like everybody else right now with their PSA submissions? So, all right, that's the rundown. Now we're into the show. We're going to kick off the show actually with Kendall and his recent action in his sports card investment world, his buys, his sells, his rips, and all that good stuff. So, Kendall, my man, how you doing today? Great to have you.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm blessed. We had one heck of a weekend here. As you can see, if you're watching this and you've watched us before, I've got a new background. We moved into a new house this week, so that's a big accomplishment for us. We're really excited. Hopefully this room is not this gross color salmon in the future, but hey, this is literally day one in our new house. So we're excited about it. But other than that, I had an awesome weekend of rips. I got to rip Bowman 22 baseball for the first time. Was able to get into some retail situations where got a bunch of blasters and was able to rip a few of them. Man, it's my favorite time of the year because retail product for me becomes it becomes another, like, a thing I look forward to again. So, like, you know me pretty well. The guys I think that have listened to this podcast know me pretty well. I'm pretty much a two-sport guy when it comes to buying. Well, specifically in rips. Like, if I'm in football and basketball and any other sports, I'm specifically a one-card person at this point. But if I'm buying wax, I'm gonna go football or soccer and baseball only. So now that, like, there's two awesome products in retail right now with Bowman 22 baseball, the flagship Bowman retails product, and then Champions League Topps is out on shelves right now too. And so I was able to get some of those and dove into that this weekend and pulled two autos out of blasters. So, it is what it is.
Congratulations, man. That's great. That's and you are the host of two other shows on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Content Network, which you can get right here on this feed, the Sports Card Strategy Show feed. So once you subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever, you're going to get all the shows. And Kendall's the host of the Baseball Card Strategy Show as well as the Soccer Card Strategy Show. So it's great to know that you've been able to partake in getting basically some of the best releases. So tell us a little bit more about, the 2022 Bowman baseball. I know you've talked about Khalil Watson and some of the other guys, but I mean, who are you most excited about in that product in terms of those hobby boxes that are coming your way soon?
Man, I think this is a product that we're going to look back on and be like, that is a massive year for the product. And I've said that a couple of times. I mean, I even convinced you to like invest big in it because of that. Like this is a situation where Bowman every year Bowman seems like whatever you get it right out of the gate, it's gonna, like 1.5x at least, or 2x from when you just pull it right off the shelf. And so getting those first blasters is really fun, and just diving into the product, seeing the cards for the first time, the new designs and all that kind of stuff. The inserts actually. So like what I find myself doing is like later in the year, I hate the inserts. But typically right when I open the product, I love the inserts. And I think that says a lot about my investing relationship versus my collecting relationship. Because like as soon as I open the product for the first time, I'm viewing it as a collector, especially with, I think that, we could walk down that road a little further by basically saying like, I'm an investor in football, basketball, golf, the UFC, that kind of stuff. But I'm a collector in baseball and soccer. And so like my like visuals of opening those cards for the first time are really important to me. And so like I pulled it up, opened a Bowman in 3D Wander Franco, and I was like, this is sick. And I went and looked at it, it was like $3. And I was like, I don't care, it's sick. But so I think later on in the year I won't be excited about inserts, but I'm always excited about the new inserts, which is funny. But guys that I'm really looking forward to in Bowman 22 is Ellie De La Cruz, Johinski Noel, who's a guy that's selling already for over $100 Bowman Chrome Auto, and he's in the Guardian system right now. I love Max Muncy. He's a little bit further down that list, but he's a shortstop in the Oakland A's system. He's got a name that people already recognize because of Max Muncy on the Dodgers. And so, like, I think he'll get some of that residual search engine type stuff. And so I think his cards will be good. And I actually pulled an out of 250 Bowman Chrome first for him this weekend, which I was super excited about. I mean, I'm not big on Khalil Watson, but I know Khalil Watson is a chase in this product. His card looks really clean. Like if I pulled some of them, I'm going to be real excited about it. But, so those are kind of like 3 or 4 of the guys that I'm high on. Oh, another guy that I'm like absolutely super high on is Dustin Harris. And he is a guy in the Texas Rangers system, which is why I'm also high on him, because I'm a Rangers fan. But he is ranked number 5 on top of Bowman Chrome's autos in the set by Let's Talk Wax, my friend Kyle Walker. So he ranked Dustin Harris's auto as the 5th chaser auto that you want to go find. But Ellie De La Cruz and Khalil Watson are ahead of him in that top 5 system. So there you go. I've named 3 of the top 5 already.
Phenomenal. And I know there's going to be some debate about Wander Franco's rookie card in this product, right? But this is the product that has his Bowman rookie. Talk about that real quick, and how investable you think that may be, and how much controversy there may be over this card.
Yeah, I think that that's also, thanks for bringing that up, because that also builds back the lore of Bowman 22 baseball. So historically, Bowman has been all about prospects. Like, you only get Bowman because you're just like, yeah, veteran, rookie. Okay, whatever. Okay, Bowman first. And that's what you're looking for. Well, for the first time ever, there's a leaky cards in this set. Like Wander leads that pack, obviously, but O'Neal Cruz is in there. Bobby Witt Jr. is in there. Julio Rodriguez is in there. I mean, you've got a ton of rookies all over baseball. It's the year of the rookie because of the way that the minors in 2020 and 2019 just were kind of halted for a little bit because of COVID. But now all those guys are all just pushed in at one time. So you've got the year of the rookie, and they're all like all over the league. You can just be like, rookie of the year is going to actually be one of the most competitive competitions that it's maybe ever been this year. So it'll be really cool to see who wins. And I think looking forward a little bit, like a little casting into the future, I think this could be a really valuable rookie of the year, whoever does win it. because of how competitive it will be. But additionally, Wander's rookie cards are in here, which is always fun. You know, like we saw top series 1 rookie cards of Wander Franco going for nutso money. And it's weird because this is the first time I've seen in a Bowman set, really, other than Shohei, people looking at non-Bowman first and like taking pictures of their paper Wander Franco rookie cards. You know, like no one does that. No one posts on Twitter their rookie card of Jared Walsh, you know, or like no one posts their rookie card last year of, you know, whoever, you know, like no one did that, but now they are. And so I'm thinking it's maybe building that, just more of that hype into this product specifically. Not only all the prospects are great, but the rookies in this set are super, super put together as well.
So how come this is a product that you see as a investable product from a wax standpoint versus Bowman Chrome 22, right? Because would you say that you need to get this and rip it and sell it like you normally would, or would you say that this is one that you can hold wax long term, even though typically what happens is like Chrome comes out and then everybody cares about Chrome and the price of the paper product goes down?
Well, what's cool about Bowman is the Bowman Baseball 22 does have Chrome cards in it. It's not only paper cards, which is really which is nice. But additionally, once Chrome comes out, it'll be a different checklist. It's not the same checklist. And so that's what's different from like Topps to Bowman. Like Topps just basically does all the same cards, or for the most part, and then puts a Chrome, you know, finish on them. Bowman really, for that Bowman Chrome that comes out later in the year, it's almost a whole new checklist. All the firsts are different. It's usually international free agents. It's usually stuff like that. And when we're talking about what we're looking forward to in terms of the cards that we are chasing in the set, this Bowman 22 set has a ton of prospects that are going to be massive major leaguers. And so that plays into the fact that this is a set that I think blaster-wise, you can feel free to rip and sell as much as you want. But like for me, that's what I'm doing. For instance, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I have 28 blasters to my right here. Like 28 blasters of Bowman right here to my right. And I'm actually not going to rip any of those because it's a business for me. But I already ripped the ones that I did personal. But for me, it's like the hobbies are going to get shelved and put away because like those are going to just long-term appreciate. Now, over the last 5 years, since 2017, Bowman has done nothing but appreciate over time. The worst product in the last 5 years is 2021 Bowman, actually. I think it's the weakest checklist out of any of those 5, and I'm going to talk about that in my next baseball episode because I'm really going to break down what, like really looking at what are the 5 years and why is 2021 so much cheaper than the rest. So there's a little teaser. But this product, I think, is number 1 out of the last 5 years. And so as a person whose like job it is to really see the value in this, I think this, like from a caller's perspective, like the alpha that I'm going to give you here is like, this is the set that you should be spending money on, not only because it is very accessible right now. I think over the next 6 months, we're going to see maybe a $200 spike in those hobby boxes per box. I mean, I think like, I don't know how much you want to reveal, but like if you like look at where you bought the 6 boxes, they're already several hundred higher than when you bought them in like March or whenever. And I think they're going to go up maybe $200 more from there. And in this year, and I'm not talking about like when those guys get to the major leagues and what we do, like you're seeing 2018 Bowman go for crazy money because Vlad Guerrero Jr., Tatis, all those guys are finally in the majors and are raking. And like, so now their Bowman first cards are even more valuable to all collectors, not just ones that know them before their names are a household name. So that's what makes Bowman so special, is they're eventually going to turn into household names. But those boxes, if you get those boxes before they become household names, that's what's going to make them really valuable. That's why I think this is a hold and rip product, which I think is a really unique thing, because 2021 was a rip only. In 2020, I thought was a hold only. So, there you go.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's actually a perfect segue into our next topic, which is Topps Chrome Overtime Elite. So I'm going to start to share my screen. And for those of you only listening, don't worry. We're going to walk you through this. And if you want to watch on YouTube later, we wouldn't hate you for that. But basically, Topps Chrome Overtime Elite, I'll break this down a little bit because some of you might be saying, what the hell is he talking about? Obviously, you're familiar with the Topps Chrome brand, pretty much everyone watching and listening. But Overtime is a series of professional leagues that has some investors that you might have heard of. Jeff Bezos, Kevin Durant, and Trae Young are probably the most notable. And they're involved in essentially like early to mid high school recruiting, and then getting high school sophomores and juniors into professional leagues to sort of foster their development. And Elite is basketball, and they're based in Atlanta. So Overtime Elite. Actually, Murph and I did an episode of the Sports Card Strategy Show in early 2021. One of our first episodes, I mentioned Overtime Elite, but I mentioned it in the context of Topps Now. And Topps Now is not really a product that I'm super crazy about, because I learned some lessons the hard way in my early enthusiasm for buying sports cards, and not really seeing the value in Topps Now unless you really, really find a needle in a haystack. But Topps Chrome is different because Topps Chrome has hobby boxes that have autos in them. There's numbered parallels, serial numbered cards, things like that. And Topps Chrome is it's a brand that's more like Panini Prism, right? Where everybody wants Topps Chrome, regardless of the actual sport. We've seen what happened. We know about baseball. We've seen what's happened in F1, and basketball is a sport that is huge in culture. And ESPN.com recently did a great article on the inaugural season of Overtime Elite. What's risky about this product is that it's totally unproven. We don't know who these guys are yet. They're literally like 15, 16-year-old high school kids that are trying to get to the NBA through playing in a league that is in its first year. But it just finished its first year. It did not have a TV contract, so its games basically were only available on social media after the fact, so YouTube, Instagram. But they have significant financial backing. It looks like they're here to stay. They have a plethora of 5-star recruits and multi-million-dollar sponsorship deals. They have sponsorship deals with State Farm, Gatorade, Meta, which we all know more commonly as Facebook. And they have really what they need the most, top players, right? So there's one guy, Jean, actually, because I believe he's from France. Jean Montero is projected to be a first-round pick this year. He's the only player who's eligible for the 2022 NBA draft. Then they have a pair of twins, Asar and Amen Thompson, who are eligible for the 2023 NBA draft and are projected lottery picks in 2023. And they have they just signed Nasir Cunningham, who is eligible for the 2024 NBA draft, and he is the number 1 recruit in his class. So essentially, you might be wondering, like, why is there this league? Basically, it's so that there's an alternative to college. There's an alternative to going overseas and playing. And these kids, because they are kids, but these young men earn 6-figure salaries. So it's a small league. They've only got about 30 players. They're going to play against each other. They're going to play against professional teams over in Europe. That's what they didn't do a whole lot of that this year, as I understand it, but they're going to do quite a bit more of that next year. So we're going to be looking at players that not only, are culturally relevant. They have a large social media following as a league already and as individuals. They have, like I said, sponsorship deals, financial backing, salaries. They have the ability to recruit the top guys. Cunningham, for example, who I just spoke about, retains his college eligibility because he's not going to get paid by Overtime Elite. He's going to play in the league, but he's going to sign some NIL deals. So, I mean, the interesting thing here from a sports card investment.
That, by the way.
Yeah. So just in conclusion to my opening here, and then we can dig into this a little bit further. Like, the world is changing, right? I mean, I think that like the typical sports card investor in the last couple of years has maybe thought, well, I'm not going to buy this college uniform rookie card or rookie auto because I know that the pro rookie auto is going to come out, and then the college, and I understand that thought process, believe me, because I'm about to talk about that in a minute with the NFL and with Bowman. But I do believe that these Topps Chrome Overtime Elite cards are investable from a standpoint of if you can identify the guys like the Thompson twins. It's kind of funny because they're a band from the 80s, but the Thompson twins, you don't
want to age yourself there, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm old. I'm probably much older than the average audience member of this podcast. But anyway, I think that if you can pick the right players, the other thing I love about it is the cards. The cards are sick. The fact that they essentially follow the same format as F1, where they've got, the gold refractor autos out of 50. They've got the aqua look really, really cool out of 99 autos. They've got the basic refractor auto short prints that are more affordable but super investable because these are these guys' first autos. And so the reason why I thought it was a good segue from Bowman, right, is that this is prospecting. Like, this is totally prospecting. And if you can see my screen right now, you're seeing like Asar Thompson, who's the number one prospect out of Overtime Elite for 2023. He's projected lottery pick. His refractor autos are selling for about $100. My thought is that's not that much money to lose if this guy ends up being a lottery pick. And when he is a lottery pick, based on when we're seeing the releases of the pro uniforms come out, you've got two potential opportunities. You've got the ability to quick flip before the pro releases come out for probably much more than $100, for example. And you've got the ability to maybe this actually is the card that everybody wants because it is Topps Chrome, because it is a short print auto, because it's his first auto. And it's not a cheesy college uniform card. Like, it's actually a pretty well done card from a brand that everybody loves. So the proof is in the data, like you said earlier about cards selling from Bowman. The proof is in the data with this Topps Chrome Overtime Elite. It could totally flop, but it's already selling. And so I'm buying. I did buy a Jean Montero. Let's see. I paid $150 for a Jean Montero gold refractor auto out of 50. My thought was, why pay $100 for a short print refractor when you could pay $150 for the out of 50 gold refractor, right? And then I did pay $150 for the Amen Thompson for the same reason. So would love to know everyone's thoughts in the comments, but first, Kendall, I want to know your thoughts on basically what I've said about this Topps Chrome Overtime Elite product.
Well, first off, I think Topps, or just the Overtime brand in general, I think is a really interesting thing. It's like a combination of the G League and AAU basketball put together, and I think it's something that is, as somebody who played AAU growing up, I know how much absolute just the filthy amount of riches that are in AAU basketball, and if you could just go down the YouTube trail just a little bit, like Team Adidas is making stupid money off of these kids that are like 15 years old, and additionally, it's also very, very expensive to play AAU for a lot of kids, and so it's just it's an industry with a ton of money just rolling around. And then if you take the top 30 players and then put them in a league of their own, wow, okay, that's a lot of money. Think about how many people went to South California to watch the Ball brothers play in their high school gym. Can you imagine if LaMelo had the chance to be an overtime player? Like that, they're the next LaMelo could be playing in Kevin Durant's league, And so I like it from a league perspective. I'm not sure if I like it from a kid's perspective. Like if I'm putting my dad hat on, I'm not sure I love the fact that they're going to be marketed like that as 16-year-olds. But at the same time, like in other countries, like I don't know how old was Messi when he signed with Barcelona's youth club. If you walk around with Barcelona's youth club, it's not like you're just walking around as a regular teenager, and so, to put that into perspective, I'm kind of convincing myself out of the argument that it's not good for the kids, but it's just part of their life, But anyway, from a card perspective, though, I think this is a set that I would particularly be. This is not a wax set for me. Like I told you earlier on in this episode that there's distinctions between wax sets and singles sets in my buying habits. Like this would be a calculated buy, a calculated buy for me. Like this would be like take the Twins or take what's the guy's name? Cunningham. Take his stuff and buy his stuff specifically. So making calculated moves here, I think, is the play, because like Bowman is a play for me no matter who I'm getting. It doesn't matter. Like there's probably going to be investable guys all over the product. And same with F1 is a little bit that way too. Like those guys, whether you're in F2 or F1, you're going to be investable to some level. These overtime guys, some of them may just end up as European players. Totally. Some of them could just end up in G League, or maybe they don't even want to play basketball professionally. What do we have we thought about that? And so maybe they just get a six-figure salary. They graduate high school and then they're like, oh, I want to be an engineer. Not that happens a lot, but it does. So I would make a calculated move here.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I think you're right on the money. That's a huge distinction. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not buying wax. I'm not ripping wax. I have no interest in 99% of these guys from a sports card investment standpoint, but you already nailed it. I'm going after the Thompson twins and possibly Montero in this set.
I don't want to wait long enough to overtime could potentially not be a league anymore. I'm not saying it's not going to be a league, but say it gets bought out and by 2024, overtime is not a thing, but this guy is suddenly a 2024 eligible player in the draft. Does that card still hold overtime value? Or potentially, overtime could be much bigger in 2024, but I'm not willing to make that risk. I'm buying the 2022 Montero guy, and I want to flip it now. Because additionally speaking as well, I think if Montero's draft is high, say he goes top 5, then the overtime's popularity is going to explode, because you've watched draft coverage, they've got 5 minutes between each pick. What they're going to do in that 5 minutes after he gets picked is do nothing but highlight how he played in this league, and how Kevin Durant's probably going to come and talk about the kid and all this, they're going to hype it like crazy. Yeah. And so I'm in for this year. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I will probably list my Montero before draft night in like a buy it now format where it gives me some ROI on my initial investment, and then just see if he gets drafted higher than expected and they give him a lot of coverage like you're talking about. Maybe I get some offers on that card. If that doesn't happen, I'll probably list it again after he starts, if and when he starts to play well in his rookie season. Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you said summer league because we saw what happened this last summer in the card market. I mean, Bowl, his card shot up, right? You had
Yep.
guys with no business getting any minutes in the league. Their card values were skyrocketing because of their summer league performances, and so for
Yep.
sure, like listing Montero during the summer league, that's a great idea. So that'll probably be my strategy. And then in terms of the Thompson twins, my concern there is injury because I think that it's still going to be a
Yeah.
league by the time they get drafted. They will get drafted high unless they get injured, and then their investors will probably be screwed because it's really hard to fight. Like if injury knocks them out of the first round and they're a second round draft pick or they go undrafted, then you're kind of SOL at that point. But
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
same thing really with anyone in the hobby.
Right.
And then just
And basketball
for
injuries are
clarity,
so frequent.
yeah. I mean, for clarity, like Cunningham won't have any cards out in this set, I don't believe, because he hasn't joined the league yet. But next year's set, he'll probably be the
It,
chase. And
does he
I do
get
want to
some
give
though?
some.
Because he's not an athlete with overtime. Does he get a card?
I would think that because he will. My understanding, and this is actually, I want to give some credit to Card Talk Pod because Ryan and Lou and Tyler, but mainly Ryan and Lou were talking about this on one of their recent episodes. So I'm actually stealing this information that I'm about to give from them, and what they said is that they believe that the news is that Cunningham joined the league but hasn't yet accepted a salary. And so he's eligible for NIL deals. My thought is that if he joined the league, Tops would be excited and push overtime to say, hey, this dude's in the league. We got to have cards for him. I don't know if him not taking a salary from the league affects his ability to have a card in the set or not. But I
Yeah,
think that
that's an
I
interesting
just
thing
know that
to
he doesn't
think
he
about.
doesn't have cards yet. He
Yeah.
doesn't have cards. The other guys do. But 400,000 followers on Instagram already. Not bad for a new thing that not many people know
That'll
about.
work.
So I want to shift over to a different part of the same topic, which is Tops cards with Chet Holmgren. So I noticed that Chet Holmgren, who's projected to be a top 2 pick, probably the number 1 pick in the 2022 NBA draft out of Gonzaga. He's that guy that no one's seen anyone like him because he's 7'1" twig that can do everything basically. Not to say he's not built, but he just doesn't look like he's built from the eyeball test. But he looks like a great player, that's for sure. And so what I noticed is that Topps Now had a release a few months back, and they had an autograph in the release, and those autographs sold out right away. And then I noticed that Topps had a Blake, they call it Topps X. It looks a lot like Topps Project 70, but it's called Topps X. So they had a release that featured a lot of card art from guys like Blake Jameson, some of the other artists that we know from the Topps Project 70 stuff. And that release has like base cards and parallels, serial numbers and everything that you can get. But it also has autos. All the autos sold out right away. So my thought is, let's have a discussion around this real quick because the Chet Holmgren Art Collection is what it's called. Now, these cards came out at about a price around out of 99 auto, for example. All the out of 99 autos were somewhere around like $249. And then like the out of 25s, out of 15s, etc., were more like $999 and up per card. And so now I'm on eBay and I'm looking at the secondary market because they all sold out on Topps.com right away. And the Topps Chet Holmgren Art Collection autos are being listed for basically each card's being listed for 2 times what they sold out for, which doesn't shock me. But my question is, what's compared to Overtime Elite and that whole discussion we just had? What's your take on the Chet autos?
Well, to answer your question right away, I hate this thing. I hate the single edition. We're going to make a whole collection for this one player. I think the first one that I remember just absolutely seeing and then also hating is the Trevor Lawrence collection. They put out specific wax specifically for him. I just hate that. One, because that's so of course you've got pressure from all over avenues of these players, but that's a lot of pressure from investors saying I'm going to put my money down that you're going to be a baller, I don't like the whole theme of that. I don't know. But additionally, with this Chet Holmgren stuff, it's not a product that I'm going to buy personally. One, because I'm not the kind of guy who's sitting there spamming the buy button as soon as it comes out. I never have enough time to do that kind of thing. So I didn't get in on the mint of it or whatever. And I'm not going to pay the double price that's on the aftermarket. Do the cards look great? Yes. Am I excited about Chet's NBA career? Absolutely. Have I been watching Chet since he crossed over Steph Curry when he was 16 years old? Yes, sir, I have. Was I excited he was going to be a Gonzaga player? Absolutely. Am I super pumped about watching him in the NBA? Yes. But I am not buying these cards because I do not like that Topps. It feels like an overprint situation. This feels to me, I feel like there's some PTSD for me here when this happened with the King Griffey Jr. cards in early the 90s. If they, this feels to me their way of saying, we're not going to overprint Topps set, but we're going to overprint Chet Holmgren. And it's they're totally saying, we're going to do this on purpose. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I think that you bring up a good point.
Well, but totally, I know people love this. So if you're going to go down a different road, go for it.
No, I'm not. I'm going to agree with you 100%. I don't like this at all for different reasons than you, but I agree with all your points. I think that the point about overprinting or not knowing how many there are. Okay, so what I don't like about, just to piggyback off of yours, and then I'll give my reasons as to why I don't like it. To piggyback off of what you're saying, the reason why, say, Tom Brady autos or Kylian Mbappe autos, which don't exist, are valuable is because they barely exist, right?
Right.
The reason why I think Giannis autos probably are so affordable is because there's a lot of them. You see a lot of Giannis autos. You see some guys sign a lot of cards, and some guys sign, that get into packs, and some guys sign a lot of cards after they get ripped from packs, and then they get DNA certified by PSA, or they get witnessed by Beckett or whatever. And I'm not saying those aren't valuable, but I'm saying the more of them there are, the easier they are to find. And so they're just not going to go for as much regardless. And so for Chet and everyone and Trevor, like you said, to come out and before they've even played a single pro game, they've got all these autographs. I think it's bad for their card value. I think it's bad for their autograph card value because there's already so many Chet Holmgren autographs now. And you might be listening and saying, well, Paul, you just said you like these Topps Chrome Overtime Elite. And I do, because I think there's a huge difference. I think that the Topps Chrome Overtime Elite product that we talked about them being a release that we're more familiar with. They come out of a hobby box. They come serial numbered. They come with a known brand like Topps Chrome. We don't know about the Overtime Elite brand, but we know enough to know where it fits in sort of a short-term flippable window or a potential long-term investment. And the reason I don't like these art collection things, these online exclusive Topps art collection things with the autos, is because, first of all, I think it's super shady that they're immediately sold out. Immediately sold out. I've never been able to not buy a card online, except for these Topps player autograph, in these Topps Now situations or art collection situations. And then when you look on eBay, it's all like these listings are, you can tell they're pre-listings, but they sell. I'm not saying they're not legitimate sales, but I'm super confused by it overall. And so because there's confusion around it, I don't like it. Do I hate the Trevor Lawrence as much as you hate it? No. The reason I like the Trevor Lawrence more is because you could go buy a box and you could open the box and you could get the auto. For some reason, I just don't like these autos that you can only buy online that are always immediately sold out. It's super confusing to me. And I know that that's like not a great like technical reason as to why I don't like it, but that's my reason. I just don't think they're investable. So I'm a no on the Chet Holmgren stuff. I'm not a no on Chet. I'm a no on these particular cards.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to buy a Chet auto card, which I probably will at some point, I'm going to wait for the Prism release or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Which I just don't like them, to be fair.
And that's a great segue to our next topic, which is, waiting until a Prism release. I have a feeling that most of our audience is going to agree with us on this, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, because I made the mistake last year of going after a lot of these types of cards. These particular cards weren't out last year, but I just noticed that the types of cards I fell for last year are out again. And I'm going to reference an article that I wrote. I am now a contributor, in addition to obviously running nooffseason.com. I'm a contributor to Sports Card Investor. And so I recently wrote this article, why you should avoid the new NFL classes cards. And that's not to say that you should avoid their future pro Prism releases or anything like that, but it's to specifically say that you should avoid these pre-rookie card releases, even when they're in their pro uniforms or pro branding on the releases. So first of all, I'll talk about, I think, the mistake that I made last year, and then we'll talk about these cards that are out that I want you to avoid. And Kendall, you can disagree with me. But I bought last year, I bought a bunch of these Panini instant rookie cards basically on draft night, just because I was so excited about, the QB class. I wasn't wrong about the QB class and the wide receivers and running backs that were in the class, right? Like, we could go on and on all day about how great those guys are and their card value. But I was wrong about the cards that I bought, because I bought these instant draft night cards that essentially just don't hold any value long term. And so, but my thought was, look, if I go out and and if I'm the first to get these cards graded and then get them out on the secondary market before the NFL season starts, I think I can make a good amount of money on these. And basically I ended up breaking even. I mean, it was a whole exercise of just basically a whole lot of work for breaking even, which I'm okay with, because I want to learn. I want to learn by doing. That's how I learn. But now that I've learned by doing that, I'm not going to make the same mistake again, and I don't want the audience to make the same mistake I made. These cards just aren't worth anything. They're just, whether they're graded SGC or PSA 10s or whatever, you're just not going to really make any money off of them. And I would even avoid the autographs. I think, the new release this year that didn't exist last year is from Topps, and it's this is a screenshot from Slab Stocks for those of you watching, but the first Bowman. So first Bowman football. Bowman, it's called Bowman U football. And so there are your common serial numbered cards. You've got autos in there. They're great looking cards. Let's hold our thought on whether or not those are investable for 1 second, because I want to also show on my screen here the Panini Instant from this year. So this is this year's version of the mistake I made last year. You've got your Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Stingley Jr., Garrett Wilson, Matt Corral. So you've got the opportunity to make the same mistakes again that I made last year. These are a no. Like, I don't even know if we need to have a discussion on these. But I think we need to have a little bit of a discussion on the Bowman U. And I'd love to know from you all in the comments your thoughts on the Bowman U, because I could see people going either way on these. There is a Bryce Young auto in this set as well. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want the Bryce Young. And then you've got this year's rookies like Malik Willis, who fell to the third round to Tennessee. And you've got Kenny Pickett, who went in probably the most desirable spot for a quarterback to Pittsburgh in the first round. So, Kendall, what are your thoughts on this entire topic related to football and especially the Bowman U?
So I also kind of fell for a similar trap, not necessarily the Panini now. I didn't necessarily do that, but I dove in pretty heavily into the Prism draft picks set, which is almost the same in my mind, where it's like you're going to get these guys first cards, but they're going to have like the logo of the team, but they're going to have the jersey of their college, and so like, for instance, you saw Trevor Lawrence in a Clemson jersey, you saw Mac Jones in an Alabama jersey, which is like what you've just shown. But I dove pretty heavily into the Prism draft picks at the time, during early 2021. So around this time last year, I started buying Prism draft picks as soon as it hit the retail stores, and I was breaking it in, ripping it, and buying into breaks as well. And it just, I saw absolutely no return on it, basically. Not only is football for me, basically you're investing in quarterbacks only. I don't like that, and I've talked about that several times on this, but at the same time, it's just not a product that I was willing to go out there for. But the Bowman U stuff, I think, is very interesting, but not because of what it is, but all the other things around what Bowman U is doing. For instance, it's Topps first football product back in it's like their first thing back in another sport other than baseball and soccer. For instance, Fanatics bought them. They released Bowman University. Like, it was just like boom, boom. And I think it's a play towards Panini. I think it's a little bit of a power play that Topps and Fanatics is doing, because Panini is not their licensed product right now. Like, they're not owning it. And so I think the interesting aspect is like the larger aspect of Bowman University cards, I think, is what makes it appealing to me. Like, the knowing the general context of the actual sports card market is why this product is appealing to me. Do they look sexy? Absolutely. Man, I am all in on this Bowman University from a looks standpoint, because I think it looks exactly like every other card I invest in, because I'm a Bowman investor, and so like, this is like, cool, same cards, different sport, might as well, like, that's how I feel. But
For sure.
I also have to temper my expectations, knowing that college jerseys, they have a floor, they have a ceiling that, like, I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about glass ceiling in this aspect, but college cards kind of have that, where it's like they're never going to get paid at the same level as the pro uniforms. But so I'm breaking the product. Like, Wild Cards Trading is actually doing our first non-baseball break of the year in Bowman University cards, and so like, we're waiting for that to come in. So I'm excited about it, and I just can't wait to see them, but I'm also not buying them personally. So like, yeah. I don't really know where that puts you. So, but I am super excited for Kenny Pickett going to the Steelers. As a Browns fan, I think that is a great thing for us, like for our division, but also for him going from like a Pennsylvania kid going to the Steelers at the 20th pick. The Steelers didn't have to like go up to get their guy. Like, what a cool story. Like, as Roethlisberger is riding off into the wind, they're literally handing the keys to their guy. I know you're a Steelers guy and everything, so I'm sure that was really cool. But like, this is a story just made in football heaven. Like, this is like, if he's good, it's going to be like better than Joe Burrow mania. Like this is going to be Pickett mania, and so
For sure.
and I
for
thought
sure.
it's funny that they drafted Pickett and Pickens. I think they got two guys there, and so I was like the pick boys, like I don't know, they're probably going to do some
Yeah.
marketing play there, but anyway, go for it.
Yeah. I think I'm a storyline guy. I like a good storyline, and I can see a good storyline coming a mile away, and this is definitely one. You
Dude,
just
stories
nailed it.
sell.
And
Stories
yeah,
sell.
yeah, and I think Kenny Pickett, when his pro pro uniform autos come out, um, you know, this probably isn't a bold prediction, but I think he's going to be the biggest chase. Probably he might not be. It'll be interesting to see what his early stuff starts selling for. I can almost guarantee you that these Bowman U football autos of him are going to be pretty desirable this NFL offseason. And then if there's any kind of hype around him based on like camp or preseason, they're probably going to spike big time. And I would just caution everyone. I know these are cool. I could see potentially if you want to rip a box as a collector and then list one that you pull and get some money back for a Kenny Pickett auto, now would be the time to do it. Or maybe July or August would be potentially even better time to do it. But I wouldn't want to be the person on the other end of that buying it on eBay, because I just don't see these cards being, like Kendall kind of said, like they have a really, really low floor and a really, really low ceiling, I think. So they're a better example than the Panini Instant of this is really cool now. Is it investable? Maybe no. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think they are. But definitely good. I agree they're good for the hobby. I agree that like having these cards out there is good for the hobby. It's good for the hype around a particular player. But I mean, am I going to buy like my thought is like, why would I buy a Bryce Young auto now when like he's still got another year in college? Ridiculous drops happen in drafts for reasons that no one outside the NFL front office really understands. And like why would I buy a Bryce Young or another prospect auto now that's got another year in college, for example, out of this set, when you talk about injuries in basketball. I mean, there's no other sport that has as many injuries as football. So that's one reason why. I mean, I think that I would like to see wide receivers and running backs and tight ends and even defense be as investable as quarterbacks one day. But I just find a hard time believing it'll ever actually happen, just because of the nature of the sport itself and the injury. No one wants to hold a guy's card who tears his ACL and is facing a 12-month comeback, just because now you're 12 months like J.K. Dobbins. Like I had a J.K. Dobbins card last year and I was super frustrated because before I got the chance to list it on eBay, he tore his ACL. So anyway, good stuff on the
Well,
football
let,
release.
let
But
me
like,
ask
what?
you this
Okay,
on the fly. Let me ask
yeah,
you this on the fly right here. Is now
yeah.
a good time to buy Travis Etienne?
He's on our sports card investment report for a reason, and I believe it is. I believe a better time to buy Travis Etienne would have been when I bought him, which was like September last year, when no one had a thought about him at all. But as soon as the Panini certified and like the really, really early rookie patch autos come out, like the ones that are like they end up being like the lowest of the low rookie patch autos, but they're the first pro uni RPAs. I bought Travis Etienne's RPAs and whenever they came out, I said September. It might have been more like October or November, but he wasn't a thought on anyone's radar back then. I think now he's gaining a little bit more steam just from NFL guys, just because he's like about to be coming back and is more relevant, is going to be more relevant sooner rather than later. I still think it's the answer is yes. I think it's a good time to buy him because I think that he is going to explode out of the gate in camp, in preseason, in early regular season games. And I think that he's going to have some huge monster statistical performances that will move the needle on all of his cards. We saw it happen last year with guys that had a lot less hype than you expected them to have. Whenever they had a good statistical performance, it moved the needle on their cards. So I think we're going to see, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a guy that is off the top of my head. Like, his cards spiked when he had a good game, and he played for the Detroit Lions, which, no disrespect, I'm from Detroit. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I've suffered through the Detroit Lions. But, I mean, a fourth-round wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, we saw the card spike. So can it happen with Travis Etienne? Will it happen with Travis Etienne? Yes, it will. If you can get a Travis Etienne RPA for under $100 right now, I would think it would be a good buy. So in the Sports Card Investment Report, we're advising you to do that. But feel free to agree, disagree, comment, but that's my take on him. I think he's gonna be a great player. Is he a long-term hold? Absolutely not. I don't think he's a long-term hold.
He's a guy has a good week 3 and you're peaking,
Has a good week 3 and he's gone from my vault. He's he's right. Sold. Somebody else can have him. But that's just because then he's going to get injured. It's just, look, I played fantasy football I'm in my dynasty league, probably going on. This is going to age me even more than the Thompson twins comment aged me, but I think I'm going on like 20 years maybe on my dynasty league. And so Travis Etienne, like, I know he's going to get injured. Everybody does. Everybody misses a few weeks. And as soon as he has
the important thing is, how many championships do you have?
So this is a painful question. I won the first 2 years. And I have not won a championship since the first 2 years. I've made the playoffs. I have a big playoff streak, like a 10, 11-year playoff streak intact, but can't get to the big one. I lose in the first round of the playoffs every year. So it's painful.
Wow. All right, what's the turnover? I'm just curious. What's the turnover? Like, how often do you have to find new guys?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we replaced our first owner maybe 3 or 4 years in, and then every other year for a while we had to replace an owner. Out of the 10 original owners, there's like 5 left. But we've had to replace quite a few times. That's been unfortunate, but we've kept it to a good group of friends it was friends from college and high school originally, and it's pretty much still that way. So it's pretty good.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, all right. So
I have an 11-year dynasty baseball league, which is why I was saying, like, we have to replace like 1 or 2 every other year. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's like some dudes, like, I don't have time. See, I could see baseball being like way harder to stay in than football. Like when guys leave our football league, we give them so much shit because it's like all you have to do is like check a few boxes every week. But like baseball, you actually have to follow. Like you have to follow pretty closely before you get in.
There's 25 minor league spots on it.
Yeah, like you have to be in it with baseball. But football, like, I feel like anybody can especially dynasty. Like dynasty football is even easier than seasonal football to a certain extent because you don't even really have to prepare for the draft. Like you're like, who are the top rookie wide receivers and running backs this year? Like that's the draft. We do have IDPs though, so IDPs make it a little bit more fun. But yeah. Anyway. Good stuff. So all right, in terms of the cards, why are we segueing into what we're segueing into next? I will say that the reason is because the longer I've been a sports card investor and that I've worked on the Sports Card Investment Report trying to help people make sports card investments, I realized that you can't just say, oh, Jordan Poole's on fire now, buy Jordan Poole's cards. Like, you have to think outside the box. You have to be ahead of the game one way or another. And so I think that's what we try to do in all of our content. And I think that's what we've tried to do so far on this show. Like, so far this episode, if you're a new listener, you might be wondering, like, why are they talking about this stuff? I think it's because our main philosophy is that we need to uncover every possibility to actually make money. And so I want to segue into another one that I talked about on the basketball card, episode 1 of the basketball card strategy show. And it happens to be my favorite player in any sport of all time. And that's Earvin Magic Johnson. And so Magic is an amazing story. And if you think you know Magic's story, you probably don't. And there's 2 really good ways, really entertaining ways to learn Magic's story right now. One of them is HBO Max. Just get HBO Max for a month or whatever and watch Winning Time. It's my favorite show right now. And the second way is Apple TV Plus, which is Apple's streaming service. For those of you who don't know, has a documentary. It's just 4 episodes, each an hour long, called They Call Me Magic. And that's the one that, like, is produced by him. So he's in it. Of course, he's well represented because he's like, it's his documentary basically about himself. But you've got so many other people in it that are culturally relevant. And it does a great job, like, telling his entire story from his upbringing, obviously through becoming who he became in the pros, to getting HIV, to fighting through that, to some of Karl Malone's comments about it, to being on the Dream Team, trying to come back in 1993, trying to come back again in 96, then building his whole business, Magic Johnson Theaters, and then investing in Starbucks with Howard Schultz, helping the Black community in the inner cities through his business enterprises, to becoming a minority owner of the Dodgers. And he's not done. I mean, he's not done. And so I'm buying, and I started buying these types of cards because, again, you have to get creative and you have to understand why you're getting creative, what your plan is for your investment, right? So agree or disagree with me on my Magic take, audience. Know that you have to craft your own versions of these and you have to follow through and execute your plan. And the plan that I'm executing right now with Earvin is to buy essentially these older PSA DNA certified autos. Now, he's signed a lot of them, so they're not rare. But my play is to essentially turn a card like this, which for those of you who aren't watching, is a 1989 Fleer old blue PSA slab, PSA DNA certified auto, into a new PSA slab where there is a card grade and an auto grade, like this one that I bought, which is a 1986 Fleer sticker, PSA 8 on the card, 10 on the auto. But these are the types of cards that I believe, based on how Earvin is again in the mainstream media and will continue to be relevant, and go down as a top 5 player of all time, even when Steph's done, even when Giannis is done. Earvin's going to be in the top 5. And so my son made an interesting comment to me the other day. Bold take. My son made an interesting comment to me the other day. He was like, Dad, I think that the 75th anniversary of the NBA is going to be more hype than when they get to the 100th anniversary of the NBA. And I said, well, why do you think that? And he goes, well, if you think about it, they're hyping up the 75th anniversary of the NBA because you still got guys like Bill Russell, Kareem. These guys are alive. So they want to honor them. But by the time 25 years from now, is Magic going to be alive? Is Bird going to be alive? Like, are they going to hype up are they going to hype up the 100th anniversary of those guys as much? And it's an interesting take from a 12-year-old, I have to say.
Dude, that's smart, honestly. That's really smart. Dude, he's digging
I need him
the
working
second, third level meta there, bro. That's so good.
He is. I'm going to try to recruit him to work for no offseason one day, but I don't know if we can pay him enough. But yeah, so my plan with these cards is to essentially acquire maybe around 10 of these types of cards, get them into the PSA new red slab, and hold them for as long as it takes to basically turn a profit off of them. I mean, I think that they're not going to dip like potentially the Topps Chrome Overtime Elite can dip. They're not going to necessarily spike like the F1 cards could spike. But in terms of paying I paid $100 for the 1989 Fleer. So if I put 50 to 100 more into it to get it into a better slab with a card grade, if it gems, or even if it 9s or 8s, there's a good chance that within the next few years I could get a return on investment from this card. In the meantime, it's not going to go down in value. And then in terms of cards like this that are already ideally the ones you ideally want with the card grade and the auto grade and the newer slab, my thought is like taking a chance on this is probably a higher floor, higher ceiling investment than a lot of the other investments out there right now. So I just don't because we don't have, you made a good point. You said it in one of your episodes of either the baseball card strategy show or the soccer card strategy show. You explained why on the sports card investment report, we don't have retired players. And, but just because we don't have them on the report does not mean that we don't think of retired players, and does not mean that you can't have a thesis related to investing in a retired player. The reason why we don't have retired players on the report is because there's just no more markers for them. They're already in the Hall of Fame. They're already like, so what are they going to do that's going to spike their card value? They don't play anymore. So we don't have them on the report. So, but with Magic, I think that he's a guy.
Plus you got to cut it off somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta cut the report off somewhere.
I mean, we have trouble putting 100 guys in there, and they're all active. Come on, if we had the goats in there, it'd be super hard.
And people only have so much money too, so we can't say invest in everyone, but sure. That's my take on Magic. I would love to know what you all honestly think of this in the comments. And Kendall, I would love to know what you think real quick of this right now.
Yeah, I think the Lakers are always a perennial brand to invest in. And, if you can invest in Kareem, Kobe, Magic, any of those guys, I think are going to hold long-term value. You're going to see a steady 3 to 5% increase. I think they're going to end up beating inflation. So in terms of a long-term investable product, I think this is a go. Considering this is a good, safe, relatively slow gain portfolio play that's going to be the percentage of our GOAT in terms of our portfolio and percentage. This is our GOAT percentage. This is a guy that you really want to put there. For instance, Magic has a brand. He's currently involved in media still, and so not only is it for instance, I wrote an article several months back about how Sandy Koufax is a good investable long-term baseball play because he was on the Dodgers and because he was a big franchise. But I think Magic is an even better play because his involvement with media is still happening. So some of these GOATs, you're not going to see much movement other than people are just going to continue to respect them. But I think you could see a lot of movement from Magic because of the way that he's still involved in culture. He's not necessarily going to have athletic markers happen anymore, but you could see, maybe the Lakers go up for sale someday and he buys the whole thing, or maybe he goes into buying the LA Kings, or maybe he, maybe he brings in the first, maybe he goes into the Sparks or something like that, you could see his value continue to rise that way. Additionally, though,
Hey Kendall,
well,
I think he already bought. I think he bought the Sparks.
oh, great. Well, then there you go. Like I was just simply trying to
Yeah.
throw other LA franchises out there that he could potentially do.
No. You.
I love that. I think that's awesome that he has the Sparks. But so with
Yeah.
Magic specifically, I think the floor of his product is past us because of all the HIV and all that kind of stuff that came out. I think his prices probably bottomed out. Now, I wasn't alive for that, but like I'm sure that his card prices, or whatever they were back then, I'm sure they bottomed out at that point. I'm sure everybody was like burning them or, trying to get rid of it, especially with all of the HIV and AIDS, like mania in like the late 80s, early 90s. I'm sure everybody was like, I don't want to touch that,
Yeah.
And so now I'm sure unless there was like some sort of like Johnny Depp type, situation in his relationships,
Right.
unless that, I think that could potentially kill his value. But other than that, the sky's the limit in terms of what you could offer here for Magic. So I'm excited. And I love Magic, man. I think if I was to choose between, Magic or Bird, I'm choosing Magic every time. So
Yeah.
this is a cool story. In 6th grade, I went to a garage sale in Texas and I found a pair of high top Magic Johnson Converse that were like his first like shoe ish. They were for $3 at a garage sale, never been worn. And so I bought them, but sadly, I wore them all through middle school. And like every middle school picture I have these yellow and purple Converse on, like these yellow and purple high top Converse on every picture. And now I'm like, dang, I shouldn't have worn those. Those would be such a collector's item now. So anyway.
That's amazing. I'm jealous. I'm jealous that you even ever had them and wore them. And I mean, I would say that there's probably no bigger Magic Johnson fan than me. I don't want to take up too much airtime about it on the show, but I definitely encourage. It would make my day if everybody out there like goes and watches Winning Time and they call me Magic, because they're both just so well done and entertaining, and it's surrounding, like Winning Time surrounds Magic, but there's so many other cool aspects of the show that you just have to see it. And anyone listening or watching the Sports Card Strategy Show would like it, because there's so many different like little cultural things throughout that story that you're like, oh, holy crap, that's cool. Like I didn't know that. Or I knew that,
Right.
but I forgot. So, all right. So speaking of Magic and Jordan and Bird and some of those guys, I have a submission still at PSA. And I think this is good and bad. The good news is I'm going to share my screen with you right now so that those of you watching can see this. But again, if you're just listening on the podcast version, don't worry. So there's a couple pieces of good news. One piece of good news is my 178 total items that I submitted to PSA were at the $12 per card submission. So
Oh my gosh.
my total investment here is going to put me in a situation where I should be able to make a profit on each and every one of these cards.
That is awesome.
The other piece, thank you. I'm very excited about it. The other piece of good news is that, yep, $12 a card. And I think, like you had to be a PSA member. So like my membership, I think was like $70 a year or something like that. So I think it's, that kind of doesn't really matter when you're submitting 178 cards at $12 a card. So anyway, that's my total cost really of this investment, because these are all cards, maybe except for a few of them, that are mine from when I was a kid. So that's the other piece of good news. The other piece of good news is that essentially these are all the following players: Michael Jordan, Barry Sanders, Magic Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. There's some Scottie Pippen rookies. There's some Larry Bird. There's some Gary Payton, Karl Malone. Dennis Rodman, Shaquille O'Neal. A lot of these are rookies. I submitted the Mark Jackson 1990 hoops with the Menendez brothers.
I love that.
I don't know why I submitted Alonzo Mourning, but I submitted Penny Hardaway just because I wanted a couple Penny Hardaway cards in sleeves. Frank Thomas, 1985 Kirby Puckett, Yager, Emmett Smith, Santa Claus, if you remember from the pro set, Santa Claus, Brett Favre, Dion. You get the point. Like these are some Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. A lot of these are from the junk wax era. Some of them are legit though, like 1988 rookies. Like that was a good set. Basketball rookies, Fleer.
Do you have any cheaters in there?
There's no Jeters. There's a Kobe rookie, Topps rookie, and like 5 Kobe second year, 1997 Topps. I mean, basically my point is that had these been like modern or ultra modern cards, I'd be screwed because they'd all be like Ja Morant and Zion and, like, I guess Tatis or whatever, which I just think that those cards declined so much from when I submitted these. And the point is I submitted these. I sent them to PSA on basically February 20th of 2021, which was like at the height of the market in terms of ultra modern stuff as well as like modern and vintage stuff. But the good news is that like the Barrys and the Jordans and the Magics, etc., and the Griffies always have the buyers. Like the buyers on those guys, even though the prices have come down, the market hasn't gone away. And the bad news is, this was in the flood of submissions that caused PSA to finally shut down. They didn't receive the submission. Like they didn't receive this until 2 full months after I mailed it into them, that they marked it as arrived in their system. And then it didn't get to grading until January of 2022. Now, we're recording this on Monday, May 2nd. So we are now essentially almost 5 months after they got into grading. They are still in grading. Now, I'm starting to get frustrated. I haven't been frustrated until now. Should I be frustrated?
I don't think so. Here's why. There is some level of frustration, but I think your level of frustration should be low, and let me tell you why I think you should feel like it's okay. You are, and you said it yourself, you have no modern cards in the investment. So right now, you don't need them back. And I just wonder if potentially PSA does this, as a little bit of a marketing play, like for themselves, knowing, hey, we've got to get through these modern stuff a lot quicker, because the modern stuff is going to be the people that are going to yell the loudest about, like, this is how much money I lost because you screwed up, and so, like, for instance, in your portfolio, you submitted each card for $12, and those are cards that you got from when you were a kid and everything. You're not losing any money, Paul. Like, you are going to gain a lot of equity grading. Granted that some of those won't grade out well. It's just because, like, when we were kids, we didn't get the best cards, we didn't know to look at, centering and minting and all that kind of stuff before we were old enough to realize that. But, anyway, your cards are going to be great. And so, like, if I can caution you at all about being really upset, like, you were in a flood of people, but think about the people that submitted 178 Zion rookie cards, like, imagine that feeling. So, at least you know that your collection is not only safe, your collection is not only secure, you're in the best grading system possible. And yeah, it's taking a little bit while, but you got a hell of a deal. $12 per slab. Like, that is incredible. That may never happen again. And so I think from me sitting in my seat, like, I'm like, how are you upset? Like, you just sure, you're gonna have to wait, a year, but like, you just put $1,000 towards a potentially $50,000 investment on the back end. I mean, maybe not, but like, what I'm saying is, like, some of those cards could grade out to be very valuable.
Well, it all depends on the grade. It all depends on the grade, I think, on many of these cards, right? Like, it could be a $50,000 profit. It depends on the grade of a lot of the Jordans and some of the 88.
Well, I can guarantee you this: you're definitely going to go positive.
I think so too, because I've got and we've hit on this on earlier episodes. Like, I'm the spreadsheet master, so I've got the spreadsheet of the entire submission with what, the grading cost. If I did have to pay anything to acquire the card, it's in there. So my total cost and then you can bet each one of these that I sell, I'm going to put that in there and have the total profit margin at the end of it. And I'm going to share it all with the audience here whenever it does. Actually, I think my only frustration, I am frustrated, but not that much. I'll be honest. Like, I'm pretty excited. I think my only frustration is that I haven't been able to do what I really want to do yet, which is just a lack of patience more than anything else. So I feel like I've been patient. When I see PSA send me emails to join the economy submission for $50, that's where my frustration comes in, because I'm kind of like, that's when
that's fair.
It kicks in. Like, can you grade my stuff first and get it back to me? Like, I have not submitted another card to PSA since they opened up the $50 level, partially because of logistical challenges, but mainly because I just don't want to give a company more money before they can return what I'm essentially already on the hook to pay them for. But no, I agree. I think I'm going to be, when I get the cards back, I think because they're at $12 a card, $12 grading fee per card, I don't think there's any way that like any of these cards goes for less than $12, unless I just missed and sent a really piece of crap card in to get graded and it got graded like a 7 or a 6 or something. There might be a few of those, but I think out of the 178, my guess is that like at least 165 of them are going to be profitable. So I will keep the audience posted on this.
All I ask is that I have the opportunity to potentially buy a Griffey slab before you let everyone else do it.
You will have the first opportunity. I'm not sure how desirable my Griffey slabs will be to you, because I know you already have a collection, but I will give you. I
don't have any Griffey slabs.
Well, I have one that you might be interested in then, and we've never made a deal on the show before, but let me just bring this up real quick. So get excited, everybody. This bad boy is our friend George Kenneth Griffey Jr. 1989 Don Russ rated rookie, card mint 9 auto 10.
That's pretty nice.
This is my best grade.
Do you have it listed
right now?
Yeah, it should be.
I've had it listed on eBay for like double its value, buy it now, or best offer for quite some time. And there are some watchers, but no one that's submitted an offer just yet. I think I've probably scared everybody away by the listing price.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be too much out. Might be too much out of my range.
Yeah. But anyway, so while we're on the topic of we have been on the topic of basketball, and it is the NBA playoffs. I did want to ask you to make a pick
Is it
here.
Gauntlet
So
time?
there's a couple gauntlets, and this is the traditional gauntlet will come in the form of actually giving you the dollar amount with the card prices, but this is more of pick a player, because the reason why this is relevant is because I believe that if you're going to buy ultra modern basketball right now, because it is May 2nd, you have to pick a guy that is going to win the NBA championship. So in essence, this is an NBA championship pick. This is what this is, disguised as a card pick. So if you had to pick one of the following guys right now, and that's part of the reason why these guys are so high on our sports card investment report, because we do believe that they do have the best chance to have a huge spike in card value right now. But if you had to pick between Steph, Giannis, Booker, Luka, or Tatum, or someone else in the NBA right now, who would it be? Maybe Ja, maybe somebody that's not on this list. Maybe it's a support type guy that's still in the mix. But I think the best chance to basically, it's like roulette. It's kind of like the roulette wheel of sports card investing, because like I'm not saying go out and buy all these guys right now. In fact, like I would probably tell everybody the opposite of that. I would probably say like wait to buy a lot of these guys until like August, when no one really gives a crap about the NBA yet. But the reason why they are ranked so high on our sports card investment report is because they do have long-term value, in addition to the fact that they could win an NBA championship this year and see a spike in their value. But the tricky part is you really have to pick one of them, which is why I'm asking you, Kendall, to pick one of them.
Oof. So the ones that you said, just to like, to narrow it for my brain at least a little bit, is Steph, Booker, Giannis,
Booker,
Tatum,
Giannis,
Luka, and did you have a sixth one?
No, it would be somebody else, or I did throw in Ja, just because I think Ja would be.
Yeah, I'll put Ja in there.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I think my favorite investment, or maybe not that, maybe the guy that I would be the most excited to purchase a card of his from just a sheer fan perspective, is Ja. Like, that dude is awesome. And I watched that dunk of his, the dunk, I think I watched it like 50 times last week, where he was just yamming on some people. Like, the guy is electric. And I don't even think we're even close to his full potential. Like, I think he will win several MVPs. And I think, like, once Steph retires, and I think it's going to be like Giannis and Ja's league, like Zion, I think that ship has sailed personally. I don't think he's ever going to be back to Zion of old. I know I'm in the minority there. I know people are like, this guy's still incredible. Great. I do not want any shares of him, to be honest. But Ja is my guy in terms of the fullness. But in terms of investing right now for most potential return, I think I would choose Tatum, because Boston is on an electric run right now. From January to now, they have done some stupid, impressive things. Especially when you look at like the narrative behind like Brown and Tatum getting in a room together and just saying, what do we got to do to figure this out? And then they leave that room and go on like a 12-game win streak or something like that. Like, they came from the bottom of the East and then were leading the East, to start the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe they were number 2. But you'll have to check me on that, since I'm not a super, super basketball dude. But I know
number
enough
2 seed
about it. Okay. So I know enough to be like, Boston is for real. I've watched enough playoff games this year, and I've bet on enough playoff games this year to know that I'm taking Boston as the underdog anytime I've seen them as the underdog. But I think so my best potential return, I think, is Tatum. because if he does end up in the NBA Finals, I think they're winning, because I don't think that a team from the West matches up well with them, to be honest. But I think if they don't end up getting past the Bucks, then Giannis is going to be the play again. So I don't know. I'm not taking Booker because I don't think he's 100% right. With the injury, I don't know. I think he's going to rush it back, and I don't think he's going to be great, but I don't think he's going to be Booker. I think Steph's market is pretty high already. I'm not sure how much more ceiling that could go if he wins another championship. I mean, there will be a little bit of a pump, but I'm not sure the exponential gain will be there anywhere else like there would be for Tatum.
I like it. Well, props to you for the ballsy call. It's not easy to pick between one of these guys, and it's not easy to see the Celtics winning a championship, even though they did come an amazing way back from a horrible situation early in the season where Udoka could not get those guys on the same page. Yeah. There was a bunch of public comments with Marcus Smart and Ime Udoka, and it just didn't look good. The fact that, I mean,
then Smart came back and won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and Tatum has won me over. He's a beast. There's no doubt that he is a great sports card investment. He's number 7 on our investment report right now. Mainly, like I said, the reason why these guys are ranked so high is because I think they're the surefire best long-term investments. They just happen to be at the highest point to buy in on them right now because of it is the NBA playoffs. So I'm not saying don't buy them now. I'm saying the better time to buy.
Yeah. Also, hear me as August, I'm not buying any of these. I'm not buying any of those guys right now.
But for people who want to buy basketball cards right now as investments, I do think they have to buy the guy that they think is going to win the championship, because that's going to be the thing that's going to spike the value, and that's how they're going to make money. So if you're going to, like you mentioned betting, I mean, I think, first of all, I'm so glad I live in Spain, and so I'm outside the legal area to actually use FanDuel or DraftKings, because if I were in Tennessee right now, I'd be blowing way too much money on those apps. Because I'm not good at betting. But the thing I like about sports cards is, and this will not be the first time you've heard someone say this, but you own the asset. So even if Tatum doesn't win this year, you still own the asset.
And I still think he's a great long-term play.
Yeah, for sure. I personally don't think they're going to get by the Bucks. The Bucks are
I really
Giannis. Giannis is my favorite player, and Giannis is my guy. So if I had to pick one of these guys, it's really hard to pass on Booker and Steph, but I'm going to pick Giannis to go all the way back to back. I think he does end up being my next Magic Johnson. He's already a guy.
Yeah, I think he ends up going down. So. I think once LeBron is retired and once Steph is gone, it's Giannis's league, I think. And I think I alluded to that when I was talking about Ja. But like,
yep.
When he comes over from Greece at 17 years old, like, what a story. Like, this guy is, I think he's only like 24. Like, he might legitimately have 15 to 20 more seasons. Like, that's insane. But anyway.
So you're real quick, you made a good point about Zion and Ja. There's that 2019 wax obviously still exists. There's a lot of it that's been ripped and sold and submitted to grading companies and whatnot, obviously because of Zion and Ja. But you've got Jordan Poole in there, and I want to make the point that this is not me making a point about Jordan Poole increasing the value of 2019 wax, although I'm sure that is happening because Jordan Poole is doing what he's doing right now. But I want people to think about Jordan Poole in the following context. This is just kind of like general thoughts for sports card investing. I think a lot of the times we are scared of hype being the only factor that can drive someone's card value, and I think that sort of scares and annoys some of us who really are true fans of the game and want player performance to drive more of the market in terms of pricing. And I just want to point out that like let's let Jordan Poole be an example to all of us, because he really didn't come in with a whole lot of draft hype, if any at all. I mean, he's a late first round pick on a team that already had Steph and Clay at the same position, and so now he's a hobby darling. So the point is, you can become a hobby darling through your play on the court, on the field, etc. And so I just think that like everybody keep the faith. If you've got a guy that
I love
you
that.
think is going to, yeah, if you've got a guy that you think is going to outperform his hype, like go there and buy his big cards. See where we've got him ranked on our sports card investment report, right, Kendall? And then go buy his cards. All right, my man. I think it's time for the Gauntlet. So this is where we take our resident expert sports card investor, the catalytic Kendall McKee, and we basically test his overall investing philosophies across multiple sports. Because for those of you just tuning in, first-time listeners potentially, he knows about a lot about every single sport. He's very humble. Like he says he's only a baseball guy, but then he starts talking about soccer and you're like, holy shit, he's a soccer guy too. And then he starts talking about basketball and you're like, oh my God, he knows a lot about basketball. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to say,
thank you, by the way.
Pretend he has, of course. I mean it. I'm not just buttering you up. So I think that he gets like a monopoly money of around $1,250 to $1,500 for this particular gauntlet, and he has to choose in the first round between a Scottie Barnes Contenders rookie ticket auto. Now these are all based on eBay Buy It Now. I wanted to make this like as realistic as possible for this particular gauntlet. So he has to choose between a Scottie Barnes Contenders auto that just came out that this particular seller wants $1,250 for, or you can make an offer, of course. Or a Ronald Acuna Jr. 2018 Bowman Chrome rookie auto PSA 10. So they're around, in theory, you're going to get these for around the same price, give or take. And Kendall's got a pick in the first round between these two guys, Scottie Barnes, Ronald Acuna.
This one's not fair, first off.
Right,
you're putting a top 3 player against a guy who is like not a prospect, but like Scottie is very good, but he's largely unproven in terms of his longevity. Acuna is he's pretty proven, So, but
this is why we ask you, though. This is why we ask you, because these cards are going for the same amount. So this is why it's good content, right?
Oh yeah. I think, and they're both base autos. Are they numbered?
They're not numbered. They're not base as I would define base. There's the rookie autograph, Acuna, Bowman, and then there's
this isn't a first auto
rookie ticket auto.
Okay, so there's the rookie ticket auto, and then it's a rookie card auto for Acuna.
Yeah, that's true. It's not his prospect auto. It's his rookie. It's his Bowman Chrome Braves rookie from 2018.
Sorry,
which is why
I don't
it's
know
not
what it looks like on
$8,000.
Yeah. Dang, dude, this is hard. The longer I think about it, the harder it gets. Actually, initially I was like, "It's a
because the rookie, but the Contenders rookie ticket is considered everyone. If it's not,
I know,
outside of baseball, the Contenders rookie ticket auto is the auto, right?
Yeah. So this one's $1,250. The other one's at like what, $1,500? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Acuna. I'm just going to stick with my gut. I think the Scottie Barnes play is not graded. I think that's what's gonna set it off as different for me, because I already know that this is a mint card or a gem mint card. It's a 10, right? Yeah. So
It is a 10.
just because I think that's what's going to set this apart for me. Although I am a baseball guy primarily, I like Scottie Barnes' future. I think he's really projectable. But because I think the only thing that's different in this case is one of them's raw and one of them is already a 10. And I'm going to go ahead and get the one that's already graded.
Nice. I like that. Okay, so now that Acuna against this 2020 Topps Chrome Juan Soto. It's called a Retro Rookie Relics Auto out of 99. It is raw, and it has a little cutout of home plate in the card, with some kind of patch in there that may or may not mean anything. Let's look at the back of the card and see what that patch is. Congratulations, you've just received an autographed Retro Rookie Chrome Relic card. The relic contained in this card is not from any specific game, event, or season. So we don't really know what that is. But that's probably, all these factors contribute to how the card is priced and valued. And so you've got the Topps Chrome brand, you've got the RC logo, it's Juan Soto, it's out of 99. Going up against the Acuna PSA 10, that is a Bowman Braves RC from 2018. That is a PSA 10, but that is not serial numbered. So there actually is an opportunity for there to be less of this particular Juan Soto card and more of the PSA 10 Acuna card.
Yeah. I actually think – so I'm going to take Acuna here again because of the patch. RPAs really don't sell super well in baseball. Like RPAs aren't as popular as just a straight auto or an RC auto or just a straight Bowman auto. So for liquidity standpoint, I'm going to take the Acuna again. But I also think another caveat to this is I think I'd take the Scottie Barnes card over that one.
Nice. Okay. That's good. Good for the audience to know that. Okay, now we're going to take the Acuna has won the first two rounds, and Scottie Barnes has the consolation prize as of now. So let's pair the Acuna up against this card that I found that I thought would be interesting to you for several reasons, which is a Mason Mount 2019 Topps Museum Collection UCL RC Auto jersey out of 75. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, this is sick. This is an awesome card. I'm a big Mount fan. For instance, yesterday. So I'm an Everton fan. Everton is my English club. Or technically they're my favorite club. Maybe potentially even over FC Cincinnati, who I'm a season ticket holder of. But Everton beat Chelsea yesterday in a relegation battle, and it was an amazing experience. First off, it was just amazing. I was fist pumping in my bedroom, and I was trying not to wake my wife up because it was way early in the morning. But I was just having a freaking blast. But all game, Mount was on the precipice of scoring every time he got the ball. There's actually probably the best shot on goal I saw the whole game was him. And Mason Mount is an awesome player, and he's going to be an England national team guy for a long time. So I'm actually going to take the Mason over the Acuna here. I like it. It's serial numbered. It's an auto. It's a low pop count product, and Mason, I think his value is going to exponentially rise this winter, and so I'm gonna take Mountain here.
Nice. We don't talk a lot about Mason Mount on the show, and so there's one of the reasons why I wanted to throw this card in the mix.
I'm a big fan.
He's in our top soccer card rankings at nooffseason.com, but he's not yet in our top 125. And that's probably we probably will adjust that at some point because it is time to buy guys like Mason Mount right now, leading well in advance of we're still well enough in advance of the World Cup to where acquiring these types of cards could really, really pay off considering the position that he's going to be in, not only in the Premier League.
I think the best time to buy it is actually in like 3 weeks. Or wait, probably like in 1 month actually would be the best time to buy. Because the seasons are going to be fully over. It is officially the off season. And it's like from that point to like November, I think is like the best buying soccer opportunity ever. And I talked about that in my first episode of the soccer card show. But additionally, like, I think this is an unprecedented time where you have the biggest window to buy soccer and gain the most equity in your products maybe ever. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I just added this to my watch list for that exact reason, because maybe I'll come back to this if it's still available in about 3 weeks or a month and see if Jim and Steve's cards, wow, they've sold 25,000 cards on eBay. Good for them. It's 25,000 items, but I assume they're cards. Awesome. So that's good. So yeah, good stuff. Now we have Mount as the current leader, and our last card before we wrap things up for the show, that Mount is going to go up against this 2020-2021 Erling Haaland Topps Chrome Champions League pink auto signed. It's a Beckett grade 10 auto, which basically means he did not sign this for Topps. He signed it after somebody pulled it from a pack. But I think because it's Haaland, I don't think anybody really cares. There just aren't that many Haaland autos out there, I don't think. And so I just basically am saying, would you rather have Mount plus, say, $1,500, or would you rather have this $3,000 Haaland pretty rare auto?
That's a pink one, right?
Yeah, and you could, and would you not, I don't want to steal your thunder, but would you not crack this and get it PSA certified and card graded? Because this type of card, I would think in a PSA slab with a card grade could be a ridiculous banger. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Pink refractor.
I think I would cross this one over. I would do a crossover for this. I think the one caveat to it is potentially the person graded the autograph to make sure that you knew it was authentic. But it might be, maybe it's off-centered or corners are dinged, and that's why they didn't pay for the card grading as well. They just did the auto authentication from Beckett, which you can actually do that from PSA as well. So, to each his own here. But in terms of the crossover, I would do this in a PSA slab. I'm actually fixing to send a Haaland Beckett 9.5 over to crossover, actually. So in my own personal portfolio. But this is a really hard one for me because I think Haaland's market this summer is going to go nuts because I think he's going to sign with Manchester City this offseason. But here's what makes this hard. That Mount card could be worth the same amount of money later in the World Cup because Mason Mount's going to play in the World Cup. Norway didn't make the World Cup, so Haaland's not going to play. So although he's going to be playing for Man City, or potentially, that's my prediction of where he's going to end up. But that's a great place for him, but his national team is not good. So 2026 is going to be the potentially first World Cup that he's going to be able to be a part of. So I think if here's the one caveat for this, you could get the Haaland now and resell it for when he signs this offseason with a different club, and then buy the Mount. but I think my end goal is still to buy the mount, And so I guess in that scenario, then I guess the mount still wins. Well, how do you?
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's phenomenal, because I think all of these sports card investors have to think all these things through, and they have to think through the plan for the card. So you just did a great job articulating like what's the plan for each of these two cards, and could you, in theory, like own both of them at one point in time over the next 6 months and profit both times? And yeah, I mean, all these things are valid, and yeah, I wanted to get your take also on like just the validity of the Haaland auto, just because I know that you're not necessarily a fan of having a player sign a card that's been ripped from a pack. And I know that
that's
like
not my
those cards
favorite.
don't typically go for as much money. So it was also like, but I don't think Haaland has actually signed a lot of cards that have gone.
Yeah,
into
he
packs.
doesn't really have very many autos, which makes it different. Like for instance, like if LeBron was signing things, well, maybe not LeBron. That's not a great example. Who's a good example? Like, okay, Serginho Dest. If Serginho Dest was signing things, hit that like aftermarket, it'd still be more valuable probably if he signed it, or for sure it's going to be more valuable when he signs it than in before. But like the authentication process, getting that back, making sure you can verify to a buyer like this is. I watched him, because like that stuff can be faked so easily now. Like I think people are just know how easy that is to fake, and so I think it's just another hurdle in card selling that you have to jump over, And so that one's a little different because it's Beckett verified, which is a great thing for that card. Like that's like I would say like if you get a secondary auto from somebody, you almost have to grade or authenticate it at some level. Otherwise, it's just honestly like people could just see it as a regular out of 75 refractor that's now maybe ruined because maybe you faked it, or people just don't know, especially when you're on eBay and you're scrolling through item after item after item and you see one Haaland that's 70 out of 75 that's $3,000 that has a signature on it but not authenticated. You're like, is this guy trying to pull a fast one, or do I just buy the out of 75 Haaland that's maybe $400 or $500, significantly cheaper, but I know even though there's not an autograph on it, I know it's authentic. I don't know. It's a tough balance.
Yeah, totally. And the only thing I'll add to that is like I almost fell for a Russell Wilson 2012 Topps Chrome auto card the other day on eBay. Not that the seller was trying to pull one over, or not that it's not actually signed by Russell, but I did notice after looking at the card closely that it was not certified by Topps, and that it was just a raw card that had not been authenticated by PSA, Beckett, or any of the other reputable auto authenticators. So to me, then I was not going to take a risk knowing that somebody could have just forged that. It's really, really easy, I think, to fall for that. So I just want to caution our entire audience to like really make sure that it's either a Topps or Panini or Leaf or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying to buy Leaf autos, but I'm saying like make sure that it's either certified by the company or certified by a grading company of some sort, and preferably PSA or Beckett, just because those things can be regraded with a card grade by those companies if you want to add that into the investment that you're making in the card. So, Kendall, anything else you want to add for today's show, my man? Great work.
No, man, we covered a lot. We covered a lot of sports too. So
this is the flagship. This is the flagship show of the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Content Network. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. We have several other shows on the feed, so we encourage you to subscribe. And if you need direction on how to subscribe, just go to sportscardstrategy.com, and there's quick links to subscribe to all of our shows right there, and join the Facebook group. We'd love to see you join the Facebook group so we can connect with you, so we can understand more about your sports card investing journey and help you out even more. And check out the nooffseason.com sports card investment report. Save 20% by using the promo code nooffseason. And we'd love you to check out marketmoversapp.com and get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code nooffseason. Everybody, thanks for listening and watching, and have a great day.